my approach with what's going on is that the fear-based system, it thrives on fear.
Yeah.
It thrives on hate.
It feeds on it.
It feeds on it. The parasite feeds, in this metaphor, what do parasites love? They love sugar. They love, right? They like to propagate and proliferate. And how do they, what's their fuel source? Sugar is one of them, right? So in the sense of the fear-based system globally, collective consciousness-wise, their fuel source is polarity. There's only one truth, and that truth is the present moment awareness of the now. This moment is infinite, unbounded, self-referral, relies on nothing. It is everything. It is nothing and everything at the same time. So if you asked me, what's the number one thing that allows the nervous system of the human individual to be able to connect and have that live stream that I talked about, to level up? What is that one thing?
Meditation.
Full exposure. Right now, 2026, February, full exposure. What's going on right now? Everybody is, right now, the whole globe is now realizing through full exposure who's ruling the planet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
This is a monumental time in human history. I would say this is the great exposure. This is where humanity is not, the prevailing thought before the Epstein files was, you're a conspiracy theorist, right?
Yeah.
Right? So the human race before the Epstein files was in denial about having a parasite, right?
Especially the West. We like to point fingers.
But the prevailing thought was, you are, come on, that's foolish.
Yeah.
Right? That was where the parasite hid behind conspiracy theory. Although all the conspiracy theories from the past, as well as Alex Jones, some of these guys that are considered radical conspiracy theorists,
right,
I think 90-some% of it was accurate. But people still, even though when that came out, before the Epstein files, people still had a prevailing thought was, no, there's no way. There's no way.
I think people didn't want to admit that something so heinous could be true.
Right, and I believe that has to do with people being too intellectual and less intuitive.
Yeah.
In other words, the intuitive part of humanity is less exercised. It's always about, it goes back to many episodes, science is looking at Newtonian science still.
Yeah.
Materialism. Okay? So that requires intellect. But the problem with intellect path, it has a purpose, but the balance is what I'm talking about. The problem with the intellect only path, you're only going to have enough knowledge predicated on the information that you have before you.
Right.
So these people are going and getting vaccinated. That was a complete scam. We said it. We said it all along.
During COVID, yeah.
Right. We were ostracized. I would walk into Vons without any of that paraphernalia that they were forcing people to do. It turns out that was a test run by who? By cannibalist PDFs running the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing is about these ruling classes, right? So this is the great exposure. This is where humanity now has a decision to make. Because my sound is gone. Hello? Okay, so this is where we figure out here we go. Here's where we figure out, now that you know we have a parasite, what do we do about it?
Yeah.
This is where we are right now. Okay? Because before it was denial.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to believe that. It's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that were intuitive knew that already. I've always known that.
Yeah.
Not saying that I'm anything special. I mean, essentially we're all special, but I'm saying I had been developing the intuitive side with the intellectual side.
Yeah.
Because the intuitive side, you're able to intuit. In other words, and it goes back to the nervous system. I always talk about the nervous system. Of course, we're going to tie this into insurance in a second, as we always do, but it goes back to the physiology in the nervous system.
Yeah.
Because there's parts of the human physiology that need to be activated.
Yeah.
So that we have more heightened senses, sensory, beyond the five senses, right? And one of them is smelling out. The sense of smell can be developed. You can smell out negative spirits or negative entities or negative.
Yeah, you become more sensitive.
You become sensitive
to that.
Right.
For sure. I think one of the things, back to Newtonian science and then also Western society, Newtonian science was something kind of really great for his time, right? But it was only scratching the surface of what science really is, right? And a lot of the Newtonian physics and science have been not disproven, but have been elaborated upon, right? And so there's so much more depth to modern day science and quantum mechanics and how everything is interconnected, as you're talking about the physiology and being sensitive and such. And I think what has happened, because we've leaned so heavily on these old sciences, and we're just barely starting to move forward into the new science, that we've sanitized society. So what I've noticed, and you and I have both traveled all over the world, and what I've noticed is Western society is very sanitized. You don't see a lot of the dirt and grime and dark places of society because we sanitize it. We have nice neighborhoods and cookie cutter houses and things like that. But you go to other countries and it's everywhere. The darkness is intermingled with the light, and you see it's a very raw, real, visceral thing. Walking the streets of poverty in parts of Asia and other countries. And so
it happens in LA and Houston as well.
It does, but it's in pockets, right? Like, even just here's a simple example. You go to the grocery store in the United States. Everything is packaged so perfectly and beautifully, and you don't even really know where that thing comes from, right? But you go to other countries and they have the entire animal hanging up on a hook.
I'd rather have that.
To an American, yeah, but to an American, that's like an assault to the senses. If you see a brain or a face of an animal hanging right in front of you, that's what I mean by sanitized. Our society has been so sanitized in the West that we would prefer everything to be neatly packaged and neatly put in a certain way, or in a different neighborhood, because we don't want to look at it.
Yeah, because it feeds our programming. Because we've been indoctrinated.
Yes.
In the West, to have it that way. It feeds the program.
Yeah, exactly.
It feeds the program. But I think what's happened globally is that there's a great awakening. This is the great awakening that all the literature and the prophecies have been talking about. The ugly monster has always existed.
Yeah.
It originated from the fear-based consciousness, the fallen state, right? This fallen state system is now, it's always been there, but it was able to hide better. Now the parasite has been discovered or uncovered, let's just say. And now humanity has a choice.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually looking at it as it's the Great Awakening, the age of Aquarius, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
This is where people are now having to decide. You have these people that are quote unquote gurus that are completely fake.
Yeah.
Dalai Lama, right? You are involved with a sex trafficker after it was discovered. Deepak Chopra, many. Peter, forgot his name, Attila or whatever. These coaches and gurus are now exposed, right? So what's the system trying to do right now? This is where we get juicy with it. The fear-based system wants us to hate these people.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to throw something at you now, which is, it's going to go against your programming.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what, this is the cool thing about this show. We're going to tie it into insurance as we always do, but we need to talk about current affairs because that would be like ignoring what's going on in society right now.
Yeah.
So let's do that. My approach with what's going on is that the fear-based system, it thrives on fear.
Yeah.
It thrives on hate.
It feeds on it.
It feeds on it. The parasite feeds, in this metaphor, what do parasites love? They love sugar. They love, right? They like to propagate and proliferate. And what's their fuel source? Sugar is one of them, right? So in the sense of the fear-based system globally, collective consciousness-wise, the fuel source is polarity. These are the evil guys.
Yeah.
Where I think humanity has a hard time because our knee-jerk reaction is to jump on those are the bad guys. We're going to hate them. Because that's our knee-jerk reaction. That's part of the programming.
Yeah.
So the person means well. They'll join a, protest because it feels like I should support.
You want to do something, so you join a cause.
You join a cause.
That you think is the right thing.
But inadvertently, you're actually feeding the very system that originated the wars and the abuse.
Yeah.
And this is where humanity has a hard time. The ability, the metabolic flexibility, if you will, to withdraw from taking that approach, which is a perpetual system of fear.
Yeah.
They have a hard time if they think if I withdraw from participation of picking sides, then I'm condoning evil.
Right.
This is a flaw, and we need to dig into that.
That's so true.
Because if we don't wake up right now, the system, the evil system wants you to hate. It wants you not to forgive. It wants you to judge those individuals who were participants of it. But unfortunately, if we do that, we wouldn't be linking up with a higher power.
Yeah.
Because the higher power that we're talking about in our show all the time is not a belief system. It's a direct experience.
It's a way of being.
It's not a human doing. It's a human being.
Yeah.
So it's at the level of being that we have a choice right now to invoke a truth that transcends where this fear-based system originated. Like Einstein said last episode, we said, problems cannot be solved on the level of the problem, that the origin of the problem.
Right.
We have to transcend or go beyond. And the people that can do that today, in the midst of this exposure, are the ones that have their nervous systems prepared for it.
Yeah.
because it's hard for people to swallow. I talk about this to my sphere of influence. They have a hard time with what I'm saying. I'm sure there's a lot of you right now listening. You're having a hard time with me saying something that's pretty much not popular right now. I don't speak about popular things. I don't want to speak about popular things. I'm not interested in your clicks. I'm not interested in your shares. I'm not interested in money, because none of these things are my fuel source anymore. When you have a direct experience of this being level, which is within all of us, you're no longer compromisable. No more, I'm not compromised by lust. I'm not compromised by food anymore. I'm not compromised by fame or power. I don't need to be important because I already know who I am. You see, so that direct experience has me talking about something today, something that's going to rub you, perhaps your programming, the wrong way.
Right.
What I'm saying, and I'd like to hear your feedback, we have to come to a metabolic, flexible place where we can forgive, but not condone. Recognize the flaw of those possessed entity beings, because obviously they were possessed.
Oh, yeah.
They've given up their power to something of the ego mind. Call it satanic, call it demonic. So much so that parts of their physiology were actually possessed. Were not, they didn't have conscience. They didn't, it was all about, I'm going to go and do these things. And whatever entity was driving them, it's perfectly understandable that and I said this to you yesterday, if you're a person that's gaining power through materialism and you go far enough in listening to the advice of those entities that are pushing you to do more evil, transgress more. That's how you level up on the dark side. You transgress more, right?
Yeah.
Kill more, rape more, whatever. It's perfectly believable that you can get to a level where Satan can completely possess you.
Yeah.
It could very well be that Epstein was and is Satan, because he was able to go far enough on that ladder. Just as it is true on the positive righteous side, that if we follow the Lord, we practice benevolence, service to others instead of service to self, that we can elevate to be conductive for righteousness. Just as that's true, it's also true on this side, right?
Yeah, because God's gifts are without repentance. He's a respecter of persons and therefore free will.
Free will. Free will allows that to happen. So here we are, right? We're at the threshold. And so here's where the Jesus moment really comes to light. Are we given to belief systems within exoteric religion, or do we have the ability to intuit the esoteric? So what would Jesus actually do here?
In this scenario, yeah.
Well, we have examples of it, right? How did he treat the master himself? How did he treat the woman at the well?
Yeah.
The prostitute, the person who was sleeping around,
Well,
the fornicator.
There was that one story where he said, "He who has no sin cast the first stone." And that stopped everyone in their tracks.
There's going to be 100 interpreters coming at us today.
Of course.
Right? Based on theological...
Based on perspective. That's the reality.
That perspective has to do with the nervous system.
Yes.
So if we're just studying things, studying other humans who have studied other humans, we're studying crumbs, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm asking, or what I'm challenging ourselves to, is something different. We're talking about the direct experience of Christ. When a nervous system changes as a result of uncovering this energy within, this kingdom of heaven within, once this born againness happens, it's a physical thing. I don't want to sound trite, because people hear this and go, oh, poetry, I've heard it before. I'm not talking about that. It's an experience, a born again experience, or the peace that surpasses understanding experience.
Yes.
The nervous system changes. The nervous system becomes like those of the masters.
Right.
So now you have a different perspective. And that's the perspective that I'm broadcasting today.
And maybe we can correlate that to physiology or physicality of an athlete, as an example, right? If you're an athlete, what do? You train, you eat right, and you train, and you train, and you train, right? And what does that do? What does that produce when you're an athlete?
And you rest.
Yes, and you rest. But when you're an athlete, let's say you're an Olympic athlete, you train, you eat well, you have doctors, you have this whole team around you that are setting you up for success, right? That's the same thing with the nervous system. The nervous system and the physical are directly correlated with the spiritual. And that's why the Bible itself talks about us being a vessel and the kingdom of heaven being within. So the nervous system has to be developed just as the physical body has to be developed so that you can embody what Christ said, which is why the Essenes, which is the sect of which Christ was a part of, they had a diet that they followed, they fasted, they prayed, and they had a specific regimen which they did to prepare their nervous system. And that's what you're talking about. So I wanted to elaborate a little bit on that because it's very important, and it's something that people bypass a lot in modern day because we're so comfortable in our lives, right? We have everything we need in Western society, especially, and many places. And we bypass that part, not knowing or realizing that this body that we are given is a holy vessel that needs to be tuned in to the frequency of love so that we can emit that to the world around us.
It has to be a direct experience.
Yeah.
We can feel that, experience that. It's an experience, not through just what you read. That's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when the rubber meets the road, you will likely not have the conviction to decide according to that higher truth.
Right.
And you don't have to, naysayers right now going, all the Essenes, they must be this, they must be that. This is what's happening right now when people listen in. They must be part of some cult, whatever. No, you don't have to go into the Essenes or anything. You can just stick with the red letters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can look at Matthew where it says, and when you fast, right? It's assumed we're fasting.
Or even just the fruits of the Spirit, self-control.
That's it.
Self-control comes with discipline. A disciple is a disciplined one.
Yeah.
So that has to do with it.
It does have to do with it. And it comes back to this vessel that we have. Mm-hmm. Are we able to be conducive?
Yeah.
Are we able to go beyond Adam? Are we able? We are. Are we able to transcend the ego, the survival system that we are born into?
Mm-hmm.
Carne, meat in Latin. Mm-hmm. We come into this flesh, carne asada. We come here with this survival mechanism. And our job here is to break through that by allowing this identity, which is not our true identity, allowing that to be crucified and rise up, to be risen. I mean, the true rapture, which was also a construct, is us becoming as Christ on earth, hosting the presence.
Yes.
That way, and I'm going to connect this now, that way, in this time, in the great exposure time, we're able to approach the situation from a different bandwidth, a more dense amount of light and love or truth, to realize, oh, forgive them for they don't know what they do. That's literally what's happening.
Yeah.
These humans, they all come from one source. They don't come from the devil. They are just duped, possessed. They have free will, and they're just agents of lie, falseness.
Yeah.
So we who have risen, we're the virgins with the oil, if you will, another metaphor, are now, we have to see that if we feed into hate, if we, here's the thing, if we choose one side, we have to hate the other side.
Right.
That pulls you into the system of judgment.
Yeah.
And it perpetuates their battery system.
And hate doesn't drive out hate, only love does.
How can, exactly.
That's just
true. If we're uncompassionate with the uncompassionate, aren't we doing the same thing that they're doing?
Yeah. We're just meeting that same energetic level. That's what's happening.
And that is the great secret.
Yeah.
That the enemy knows about, the entities know about. Right now, they're getting a ton from the human populace.
Yeah,
a lot of fear.
Tons of fear.
A lot of hate. A lot of judgment.
Yes.
And a lot of people aren't talking about who in human history has leveraged what I'm saying and succeeded. Gandhi is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
MLK is another one.
Yeah.
Cyrus the Great, the Persian king.
Yeah.
He's another one. He didn't plunder and rape when he became the largest empire known to man.
Yeah.
He allowed people to be free. He set the captives free. He was known as the Messiah in the Jewish Bible.
Yeah.
Mashiach, the anointed one, Isaiah 40 something.
Mm-hmm.
We can leverage this higher truth today. So, and I say, not only can you do that as a householder, as a business owner, you could be a corporate person running an insurance agency, running a family, and still be able to develop holistic spiritual enlightenment. And that's kind of, I am sort of providing evidence for that.
Yeah.
20 years of evidence that you can be in the world, but not of it. That is our message for folks who are looking at, who are these people? Why insurance? I've never heard of this holistic stuff. What do they mean?
Yeah.
By all of that? Well, insurance is just a vehicle. We sell insurance policies, but we use it as a simulation to develop spiritual awareness, which is, what's that? That's fancy for saying becoming better humans.
Yeah.
More compassion, more love, more sharing, more caring,
more joy,
more self-control,
peace,
surrender.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. We don't look at problems.
And that's the opposite of the power structure, which we were talking about, which in the power structure of this whole revealing of the Epstein files and all this darkness, all of it is based on force, power, greed, fear, anger, all of the opposites of what we were talking about. So in order to drive out all of those things, it's a parasympathetic versus sympathetic nervous system, right? In order to be able to balance our society and bring us back to a way of being, to bring the joy back, we have to be opposite of that. And the opposite of forcefulness and power is surrender.
This person that you're describing, which is modern humans, they're looking for something.
Yeah.
They're looking for happiness.
Fulfillment.
They're looking for peace.
Mm-hmm.
But they're looking outside of themselves.
Yeah.
So what happens when you look for those things outside of yourself? It's a counterfeit. It's a counterfeit.
Mm-hmm.
You need this to feel temporarily happy, right?
Yeah.
Then you cling on to it. But then if somebody tries to take that from you, there's calamity in your life, right?
Right.
So now you will justify, this is my source of happiness. If you take it, you're evil. Mm-hmm. Now I get to, not me, but the person that's stuck there, they can rationalize evil. Mm-hmm. You see that? Mm-hmm. This is how Satan works. Do you see that? Because we go to the root of this. You're looking for happiness outside of you, whether it's a relationship, whether it's food, whether it's sex. Anything outside of you is a counterfeit. It's just a shadow. It's not reality.
Yeah.
But if we don't know better, we look at that as this is what idolatry, in religious language, that's what idolatry.
Well, that's what religion itself is, to be taboo. I think the roots of most, or all religions were pure, but the modern day manifestation of it is external. It's completely external. So it drives the need for the other, the priest, the intermediary, the building, the candle, the whatever it is that makes that person feel like they're whole.
Right.
But in all reality, they were whole the whole time. They've already been made perfect.
It has some value, obviously.
Yes, of course it does.
It does. We're not saying, you guys are all, no. It has value.
Yes.
To be part of this and part of that club. Community.
Yeah.
It has value. But what we're talking about is higher states of maturity.
Yeah.
We're saying we have to go beyond what we're placed into, because ultimately those are belief systems. They're not direct experience.
Yeah.
The direct experience, let me unfold that real quick, because we talked about the external and how you rationalize evil if somebody tries to take your source of happiness. That's how evil is going on, because it's based on a belief system. As opposed to direct experience, that born-again experience that happens, that's available, it's hard to get to for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because there aren't many people with the direct experience that are teaching it.
Very true.
So you have, Jesus comes out, he is the light, he has the direct experience, he creates this movement, he's the way. The people that come after him have less and less of that direct experience until it becomes just a sermon, like just a belief system, right? Mm-hmm. The person who has a direct experience in modern times today, I'm one of those people. I've been on this path for over 25 years. The difference is I've uncovered that I am happiness, that I am joy.
Yeah. You've uncovered the kingdom of heaven within.
It's here.
It's here now.
It's here now.
Yeah.
It's not poetry. It's a direct experience. And here's the good news. Once that's unlocked, it doesn't go away. Mm-mm. It becomes your default mode. Now, in the waking state, your brain waves are different.
Yeah.
And you perceive life, you have a different lens.
Yeah.
And so you perceive setbacks as more gracious opportunities.
Definitely.
So that's the surrender we're talking about when your nervous system has experienced enlightenment. That's what it is. It's enlightenment, it's awakening. And that, my friends, is contagious also. And this vibration, this positional vibration that I'm talking about right now, which is the kingdom of heaven, which is less prevalent, this is on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
This is what this broadcast is all about. I'm just expressing to you my experience, our experience, by virtue of the direct experience. So it'll hit you different because it does. Truth, as far as we're concerned, truth is always going to hit different. But it needs to be spoken about. So the reason we don't participate in those things, that knee-jerk reaction, we should, because we're in a different nervous system. Mm-hmm. I realized that I would be feeding the fear-based system if I did what the masses do.
Yeah.
If I went and protested for Pahlavi to come instead of the regime, that means I have to hate the regime.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to feed the
Which is easy to do as a human, if we're honest.
Totally.
It's very easy to do.
What we're asking is for those who overcome.
Yeah.
You see? We haven't reached our full potential. So it's not okay to be mediocre in my book. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm saying we have extraordinary ability because we have an extraordinary God. Mm. I am a child, a son of the Most High. I am one with the abundant.
Yeah.
I am one with the Alpha, the Omega. So it is my birthright now to overcome and bring forth conductively, bring forth a different vibration. That's what this vibration is all about. I happen to be disguised as an insurance broker doing it.
Yeah.
And so I'm inviting people to join our ecosystem to be successful entrepreneurs here in the United States of America. And while doing so, change the system from inside out. Just by being.
Yeah.
Not necessarily doing. Why do I say that? Because I don't need, when you get to a state like this direct experience state, I don't really plan anything.
Mm-mm. Life unfolds. I show up intrinsically, I'm in this state of bliss. Yeah.
And then because I have you get to a point when your nervous system where you have a direct live stream with a higher data stream, call it wisdom.
Yeah.
That wisdom informs me in real time. So I show up and the action comes from that place.
Yeah.
You see? Now, are there errors? Yes. There's still gradations of enlightenment. Right. So it's a process of continuous learning, continuous elevation.
Purification process. Yeah.
But so that's why I use the cold plunge. I use the sauna. I use, a couple of days of fasting a week, meditation every day. These sort of exercises help me break through the veil, which is the ego, which is the atom.
Which is the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system.
That's right.
To bring it back to that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
it's either fight or flight, or what's the other one?
it's to thrive.
Yeah.
You know, fight, flight, freeze
Yes.
is the reptilian brain, the small brain, but the neocortex is the one that is triggered, which is where the third eye is.
Mm-hmm.
This is when our heart opens up. We have a direct experience, our heart opens up, and we get to love. We realize it's love.
Yeah.
We're only here for love. That's all. We're here. Love is the real currency. We have to love ourselves. That means we have to get through trauma.
Yeah.
Generational sin.
Which is the purification process.
This is the purification process. But if we get distracted with food and this and that and, you know, go to this convention and that convention, that is, my friends, another clever way for the ego to perpetuate spirituality. And this happens a lot in the New Age movement, which is why I came out of the New Age movement. Because I would go to these new, you know, as a seeker, I would go to these New Age places. What would I find there?
Same thing.
It's the same thing. People think, oh, the words he's using, he must be a, you know, whatever. He's a
holy man or something.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
No. It's, you go into those circles, I've been there. And people will kind of give you, you know, they'll wear looser clothing, and they'll give you longer eye contacts. But it's the same thing. The ego, collective consciousness, loves to hide in places like that.
Yeah.
But you come in there, you learn, you grow up, and then you leave. And I had to do that even with the TM movement.
Yeah.
You know, I went into that, lived in that society. There's good people there.
There's good people in almost all of
everywhere.
these.
But the prevailing consciousness there was, again, belief systems, not a direct experience.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think part of it is human nature. We have this desire to understand because our minds are so powerful. But I don't think we realize how infinitely powerful our minds are. So we then begin to create these paradigms within the mental space, but we're not connecting it here. And so when you don't have the mind-heart coherence, it's not visceral. It's not reality for you yet. It's just this.
And that mental space is where Satan always wins.
Yeah.
Because what is the number one thing, if you'll notice, we talked about auditing your thoughts last week.
Yeah.
When you notice that the enemy wins in the mental space, how does it do that? By spinning a future possibility, which is always negative, or a previous historical assumption. And what does it do? It keeps the individual in the past and the future, and that individual then gets paralyzed.
Yeah.
And is not able to sink into the heart. You see?
And sometimes it's very tricky, though, because I've experienced this myself, where you go into the future trying to avoid something that you've had been tripped up in the past. So you do everything possible to try to avoid this one thing. But by doing so, you're operating out of fear. And you don't realize that you're doing it.
This is it.
Because you're trying to avoid it. So
Yes.
in my example, it was me trying to avoid being sick.
Yes.
Because I was sick a lot as a kid, you know, allergies and whatnot. So as an adult, I'm like, I'm not going to be sick. I'm not going to be sick. I'm not going to be sick. But it was like the obsession of that was completely fear-based.
Yes.
And it was counterproductive.
Right.
Ultimately.
Yes.
Because it didn't actually bring me health, did it?
No.
It just brought me this obsessive mentality of the opposition of what I didn't want.
And that's refined battery juice. The enemy loves that.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's your innocent.
It's super tricky.
It is, because in an innocent place, you're trying to do well. This is what people are doing right now, picking sides. But in that innocence is where the devil gets most of its power.
It.
What's the obsession? This is sick, okay? What's the obsession with young children? Here it is. Innocence. Ugh. The innocence is more juicy for the system, the fear-based system, than is an adult. You understand?
Yeah.
So this is what's going on with the human condition today. And what the right thing to do is to disengage.
Yes.
This is how you look at a parasite metaphor. The way to get rid of a parasite is you stop feeding it. What? Attention. You look at it as a cloud. Oh, you're curious. A cloud going by. You are the sky.
Yeah.
The cloud is not you. But what do? We identify with the cloud. And that keeps us in that paralysis.
Or in my example with the illness.
Right, same thing.
Right? Yeah.
The approach that I take, which is the approach of higher states of consciousness, and my direct experience, is the surrender. Is that I recognize what that is. I recognize this is the ego mind. So I withdraw from it. I let it be. Doesn't mean I'm condoning it.
No.
As soon as this happens, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as we get to a point where we're able to divest from the content, the clouds, this gap is the beginning of enlightenment. When we say, oh, we come back home to the kingdom. This toggling away from the ego mind and its tricks in the mental state of the past and the future brings you back to the present moment.
Reminds me of that scripture where it says, don't worry about tomorrow. Even the sparrow is taken care of.
Yes.
That's what it brings to mind, because it's like we constantly are trying to, in those past and future dynamics, you're constantly trying to make up for or worry about, am I going to eat tomorrow?
Right.
Can I pay rent?
Right.
Am I going to be sick?
What is that?
Whatever
Survival.
It is. Survival.
Right? This is the external stroke.
Yeah.
Be still and know that I am God. Right? It's not a belief system. The future stuff is a belief system. It's based on possible assumptions. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, sweating over a potential possibility. It's not even existing. We're charging it with energy, attention, and tension. We're making decisions based on it.
Yeah.
This is the human condition today.
Yeah.
What I'm asking you is not woo-woo, or I'm inviting you to take a look at this, because this is from our direct experiences. Disengage. Doesn't mean you're condoning. Come back to reality. There's only one truth, and that truth is the present moment awareness of the now. This moment is infinite, unbounded, self-referral, relies on nothing. It is everything. It is nothing and everything at the same time. This is the power of what we have, and these are the strategies or the mechanisms to break through the ego. Once the individual breaks through that, sees the gap, identifies who they truly are, the ego mind weakens because it's exposed.
Yeah.
And when it weakens because it's exposed, then it is pretty much continuously downfalling, where it has no more power over you.
It loses its energy.
You operate from the present moment. And that's why you now have this clear signal.
Yeah.
Clear signal where the voice of the Lord is clear and your discernment has 10x'd. You recognize the voice of the Lord, and you have the courage, the fortitude to take action when you hear it. That metabolic flexibility is a nervous system thing. This is not taught in the exoteric.
No.
You go to a church today and they feed you a bunch of donuts and sugar. There's no even consciousness about.
No, unfortunately not.
And that goes for most religions that are
exoteric, yeah.
We're talking about the esoteric, and we're talking about the importance of the nervous system, the physiology, and we're talking about being conductive and being available in this great exposure time to make change happen on a leverage level. If our intention and attention is a currency, which it is, we just discussed that, where are we investing right now? We cannot invest in bad guy, good guy anymore. We have to stop. And I think the earth is moving in that direction.
Yes, thank God.
That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see, and how does that play out? Somebody's asking right now. I'm hearing it. And if you're the one that has questions, you should come to the show and battle me here. I believe in battling in a good way. I think that civil debate is great. Iron sharpens iron, right? Come on in, let's talk. But the way that happens is, as we move into this next echelon, people are going to tell that a Trump-like figure is a person that is compromised. They're going to be able to tell. They're not going to be fooled anymore.
Right.
A person,
because the old games don't work anymore.
I think that the level of consciousness of humanity, you're going to be able to see through the BS.
Yeah.
That's where we're headed to now. And the people that don't want power, who actually live out this consciousness-based example, who don't want the power, they're just here to obey the Lord, whatever, because they're already stoked.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good, Lord. I'm happy.
Have everything we
What
need.
do you want? I'm here to serve you, serve humanity. Those are the people that will be lifted up in the new kingdom.
Yeah.
And that's happening.
Bringing heaven to earth.
Yes. Tomorrow is February 17th. It's my birthday, which is awesome. Congratulations to me. 52 years. And tomorrow is actually a solar eclipse, the fire ring.
The fire horse.
No, but it's also called the fire ring.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because of the solar eclipse,
Yeah.
solar fire. So that's happening. And of course, there's the fun zodiac stuff, which is it commences the horse. I guess the horse.
The year of the fire
Right.
horse. Yeah.
And we look, folks. We don't read into all this stuff too much. What's most important? These are all metaphors.
Yeah.
What's most important is the kingdom of heaven within, which is a direct experience that can be had as the masters have had. And
that's why Jesus said, "These things you shall do and more." He meant it.
He also said, I desire mercy, not sacrifice.
Amen.
So these are some things that we should experience within ourselves. That's what we're here to do. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. That's what I'm talking about. But I think people are going to be able to discern what they see in terms of, because we as a collective humanity, we brought this to ourselves. We have to take responsibility. These leaders are a product of ourselves.
Yeah.
As a globe, collectively.
Of us not having the discernment and being distracted.
Loving sin more.
Yeah.
That's what it is. A lot of people in high power abuse that power in religion, in other places, and nefariously at the expense of impoverishing many humans, they gained this power. That's come to an end now, right? So people are going to be able to discern. We're headed into great times. That's the way I see it. Thank goodness it's finally here.
Yeah.
It's finally here where people can develop their intuitive, not just their intellectual.
Yeah.
The intellectual has a purpose, has a place. But without the intuitive, you have to work out your intuitive muscles.
Yeah.
Without that, it's null and void. It leads to many great people believed in the COVID scam.
Yeah,
Remember that?
A lot of people still do. A lot of people still do.
Well, a lot of those people who did are now going, I was wrong too, right? A lot of them. We have the evidence.
Now that we have more science, because they rolled it out so quickly, nobody even had nobody had a moment to even look at it. There was no science, basically.
It's a complete conspiracy.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And we're going to find out more about it soon. But, I mean, the whole thing.
Yeah.
How does a guy like Bill Gates, this guy's a complete creep.
Yeah.
Right? He's the head of this stuff. Right?
Well, he's been he's been filmed and speaking about depopulation for years.
Right. So people have to they have to reawaken or awaken their other sensory faculties.
Yeah.
And that has to do with the pineal gland, the pituitary gland. It has to do with your heart, your spleen, your liver. You're the number one thing that anybody can do right now, practical. Because people are like, well, dude, you're just talking about, I don't even know how do I get to that? People are asking.
True.
Number one thing you can do right now that's highly spiritual is cleanse your liver.
Mm-hmm.
I think the liver has how many thousands of functions?
It's basically your, for lack of a better description, garbage disposal of your body. So if your body is contaminated, which it is with all this toxins from the air, water, food, it's completely clogged. And then you're not able to function at your highest capacity, which in this world we need. We need people who love God, but also are functioning at their highest capacity. And in order to do so, you have to take care of this temple.
Get around with people that are on this path. These are not belief system paths. These are just direct experience communities. That's, there's and pick up from that. Who you associate with is who you become.
Yeah.
Build a stack of disciplinary exercises daily. Commit to them. Clean up your blood, clean up your system. Sleep better. Develop your nervous system. And more. Once you start, more things come.
You're able to stack them.
You stack them.
Yeah. As the discipline evolves, because that's what it is. It's like you have to start with one discipline, and then once you become accustomed to that discipline, you can stack on top of that. And then as your body becomes more aligned, you realize, like I do Pilates, for example, you realize that you were missing all of this alignment for so many years, and that you think clearer, you act quicker, you are happier, and you sleep better. And all of that compounds over time and creates a space for just this beautiful life.
So if you asked me, what's the number one thing that allows the nervous system of the human individual to be able to connect and have that live stream that I talked about, to level up? What is that one thing?
Meditation.
But I got to go beyond that, because meditation is just a technology.
True.
But what is it actually doing? It's about rest. But not sleep. Sleep is not enough because our physiology is corrupt right now. So we're not getting the sleep. We're not getting the... So meditation is the vehicle, coupled with fasting,
right,
coupled with exercise, which allows the individual to have that deeper rest. There's a scientific term for it, this state. And I can prove the state with EEG.
Yeah.
So if you put EEG on my scalp, the probes, right now, I hope Mike can get this device. We can one of our programs, Mike, because I know Mike would love to see that. And then I'll just, within 5 seconds, in the next 40 minutes, I can take my brainwave state to And that's the evidence for a lot of the naysayers right now. Like, yeah, right.
Is it alpha or gamma?
It's alpha 1 and then gamma.
Yeah.
And I can be in that state for 40 minutes, easy.
Which, for those who don't know, alpha and gamma are equivalent to what other functions of humanity?
It's a state. This is it. This is beautiful. It's an ironic thing, okay? It's a state of fully rested, beyond any kind of sleep, but paradoxically, fully awake. It's the coexistence of restful alertness. That's the state.
Yeah.
A few more descriptions. You know the experience of waking up. Maybe you have in the past. Some of you have trouble sleeping. But remember in the past, a lot of you who are listening, you've had this experience of having the best sleep of your life, right? Have you ever had that?
Yeah, definitely.
When you wake up, do you remember the feeling?
Yeah.
It's short-lived, though.
It's like that in between awake and sleep, right as you wake up.
But when you wake up, you feel so good, so rested from it, right?
Yeah.
Put that on ice for a second, that experience, which is amazing, right? Because it's short-lived, though. As soon as you go and get on with your day, it kind of dissipates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but hold it there. Freeze it there. And this other experience, let me take you to this other trail. That feeling when you fall asleep, right before you fall asleep, you know how good it feels?
Yes. Your body's completely relaxed.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, freeze that. Freeze it.
Yeah.
Okay, this born-again-ness, this direct experience, here's one example of it. It's hard, it's very abstract, but here it is. Take those two frozen particles, that complete rested alertness in the morning, and that delicious, right about where you just let go and sink into your bed, that experience, put that together.
Mm-hmm.
That is the peace that surpasses understanding. That is the born-again direct experience. That, my friends, that is the deepest level of rest. When you subject the physiology to that daily, for a long period of time, throughout the years, twice a day, the physiology unstresses, the blocks come out, the filtration happens, the purification happens, and that then becomes the normal state of that individual.
Yeah.
And they're able to, at that point, have a clearer discernment and communication. And then they get to exercise those thoughts, words, and deeds into their insurance practice.
Yeah.
Into their spousal relationship, children, society. And also be ready, prepared to human civilization changes that we're going through right now. How does a person in that state who has no fear, by the way, fear comes out. The stress is fear. Comes out. I have no fear. I mean, there's no fear anymore. It's not the same as it used to be. How does that person kind of respond? And how do they demonstrate that love, that unconditional love, into the earth plane? So that's kind of what we're talking about, in terms of that experience. Maybe at a later episode, we can double down on this experience that I keep talking about, which is called samadhi in the Vedic tradition. And it's called many different things, right? In other traditions. And what do you want to say about that? Anything?
No, I agree with you. I think that it's the level of what Jesus was rebuking his disciples for when he came to them after he was praying.
They were sleeping.
Sleeping.
Right.
That's all he came. He came here so that we would know the embodiment of peace and love and living from a place of non-judgment. That's it.
Yeah, he would say that. He would say, there was many mentions where he's like, stop, wake up, stop sleeping, right? Oh, here it is. So I'll leave you with this. This state that I'm talking about has a scientific name. And I was looking at it here on my notes. It's called a wakeful hypometabolic physiological state. And here's some bullet points, and then we'll conclude. It's what it develops when you stabilize it is peripheral circulatory and metabolic changes, subserving increased central nervous activity. These are for some of the logical people looking in, the scientific people. So I want to give you a scientific evidence. This was done in Harvard. We'll leave the link. The second bullet point, subjective description of meditation as a very relaxed, but at the same time, a very alert state. As I said earlier, such findings during meditation as increased cardiac output, we're talking about the nervous system, the heart, increased cerebral blood flow. This is a big one. When I meditate, I have a rush of blood going into my head every day. Yeah. It's just a normal thing, but it's part of this state.
Cerebral spinal fluid, to be exact.
Apparent cessation, the ceasing of CO2 generation by muscle. Here's another thing that happens. When I get into this state, this direct experience, I hardly breathe.
Yeah.
The parameters of breathing in and out, which is like, you could, let's say it's, there's a parameter, right? In, out, right now. In this state, the parameter is non-existent almost.
It's almost like sleeping.
Faint.
Very faint.
Way beyond sleeping, sometimes you just breathe heavy.
That's true.
This is like no breathing. Okay? It happens. And this is, of course, they done studies on this. 5-fold plasma AVP elevation. Just imagine for a second that you can sit there without any external forces and be able to come into a state where you can garner all of these benefits. That is like, just wrap your head around that for a second.
It's our birthright.
It's not a study of anything.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an experience. And lastly, EEG synchrony play. It's actually synchrony play. Critical roles in this putative response. So again, I'll leave the link for this direct experience that any human can have. And that's what it has done for me. Created a successful insurance practice and successful personal life. And now I feel like I just got started at 52 tomorrow, where we want to create world peace by virtue of the insurance industry. That's kind of our mission, is to create world peace, help humans reach their full potential while doing insurance, developing financial freedom, having money, but money doesn't have them, and be able to affect others positively in this time when the tables have shifted. The power structure is shifting. I think people who have stabilized what we're talking about are going to be lifted up because they bring more value to society.
Well, because we want win-win. That's our motto. We want everyone who works with us to win as we win, all together.
One of the biggest things when people hear about my Fadaie franchise offer is, well, Cash, you haven't even sold a franchise yet. How do we, why should we not go with Brightway or, you know, whatever, or We Insure Group, is that I didn't just get started. I've been doing this for 20 years. My reviews are online. I'm an open book. We're just transforming now into giving people ownership.
Yeah.
Our current 1099 producers don't have that ownership because it's not customary for a producer to have that. But the franchise is all about ownership. The idea was born because we wanted people to have what we have.
Yeah.
How do you have ownership? That's why the name of this podcast is The Ownership Advantage. We wanted you to have ownership. So that's what so it's not like we're fresh off the boat.
No.
20 years. And it behooves you, person listening in, to work with the person who founded it, the person that was in the trenches. That's a big plus. You don't get that with other places.
No.
And you also get a true traditional insurance agency approach. I forecast that as AI gets more and more savvy, a lot of humans they're gonna want to go with handcrafted. There's gonna be a market opening up, already has,
Yeah.
where people want handcrafted. They want the actual human approach.
Yeah.
If you ask AI today to draw, I said this last episode, you draw somebody with your left, draw a human, ask chat, draw a human being drawing with their left hand. They can't do it.
No.
You have to actually coach it to do it. It'll take about 10 times.
Yeah.
So there's going to be this sort of elevated, sought after demand for the human touch, but humans who have developed this direct experience. So that's some of the benefits. I want to kind of end with a little bit of insurance. And lastly, I keep saying lastly, but flexibility is the key. And that's what Fadaie offers.
Yes.
You don't have to go to a physical location to practice this business. You can do this anywhere in the world.
Yes.
So with that, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us, Jamie.
Thank you.
Adios.